in one of your articles, you talked about how you wanted to make money super quick. Most people could probably relate at some point in their lives. You were grinding, you were working, and then something happened. Talk to us about the story of being a founder and how, like, what would you wish you've known that you know now that you didn't?
This took me about 10 years to learn. I hope it doesn't take other people as long to learn, but this was a real long and winding path for me. I started out after a brief stint in finance, wanting to be a founder, wanting to be an entrepreneur. And I had this dream. I'm going to launch this company. And, I can count my billions now because it's obviously going to happen. I've got this great idea. I was going to a place in India where people weren't exploring yet. This is about 20 years ago. And there was a big opportunity. So it's a great idea. It's great vision, ready to work super hard to make it happen. And I was just determined. And what ends up happening is you're determined, you think you know what you're going to do, you have your plan, and then the world laughs at your plan and throws other things at you. And everything I did was a mistake early on. I had a great idea. I started out with, it was this corporate intelligence and a new approach to things that 20 years ago was novel. In some ways, it was successful. I created something from nothing, 0 to 1, and I'm proud of that. But in many ways, it was a huge failure because I got stuck working in my business instead of working on my business. Meanwhile, the two other companies that started at the same time with the same idea ended up growing fast, doing everything right, doing everything I wasn't doing. And I think they each sold for like $200 or $300 million. And mine was kind of, ended in a in a much less successful fashion. But I learned a ton. I stayed agile. I took care of the people I was responsible to. And I tried again. I said, okay, if I'm not good at operating a company, but I am good at the vision, maybe I shouldn't be a founder. Maybe I should be an investor. And I happened upon some good luck, which was a serendipitous conversation. By the way, quick, I have to share a quote on serendipity. I was talking with the CEO of another company a couple of years ago, and he said he's come to view the frequency of serendipity as the measure of a life well lived. So the more open you are to things that you wouldn't have expected coming your way, the more often when they do come your way, you jump at them and take advantage of them. So I had reconnected with an old friend who had just come back from Israel, and he was telling me about everything he was seeing there. This is the startup nation at the time, this brand new idea that Israel had the highest concentration of startups anywhere outside of Silicon Valley, most Nobel Prize winners per capita, most NASDAQ companies of any country after the US and China. And he said, you got to go check this out. This is amazing. Now, if I were on my plan, I would have said, no, Israel's not my plan. India was in my plan. And there are these other things I'm thinking about. But I try to be open to it, in part because the thing I just finished not succeeding at, failing at in a lot of ways, had not worked out. That had forced me to be open. But I was open. I said, okay. And he gave me a copy of this book, The Startup Nation. I read it. I took a trip to Israel and I said, wow, this is amazing. I'd never been here. I didn't speak the language, but I could see there was something special there. And Tim Ferriss likes to say the fishing is best where the fewest go. I mean, nobody was really there. There were 7,000 startups, but only a couple dozen investors of any real size. So we started with almost nothing, a couple $1 million, which anybody who's worked in venture capital knows that's not even enough to turn on the lights as a venture capital fund. But we didn't know that. We had that beginner's mind. So we went after it and it worked. And I mostly give us credit for one thing, which is we were in the right place at the right time. The rest of it was probably luck and learning from our mistakes faster than we made new mistakes. But we grew it from $2 million to $10 million. That took a year. And then $10 million to $20 million. That took another year. And then 40 million, and then 80. And after doubling every 12 to 18 months, it became over $1 billion over about 10 years. So again, a lot of failure, a lot of struggle, a lot of learning the hard way. but ultimately learning that if I just let go of my plans, if I unclench the fists in my mind and that willfulness and be open to what comes my way, be open to serendipity, be agile, be humble, then good things can happen. And that was that path.